welcome to Sauti Radio in Southeast London, your number one health and well-being radio. Thank you for tuning in. I am your program presenter and moderator, Oumai Obanda. Today on Sauti Radio's scheduled morning program, we will be looking at PrEP as a tool for HIV prevention, which provides one more effective prevention option for people to minimize the likelihood of HIV. PrEP has been shown to prevent HIV in diverse groups such as gay men and other men who have sex with men, transgender people, heterosexual men and women, and people who inject drugs. My guest on the show today is Gcobisa Madlolo, a community practitioner, a social media influencer, and a long-term and consistent user of pre-exposure prophylaxis, PrEP. Gcobisa will be talking to me about her own experiences with PrEP. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the program.
This is Sauti Radio.
Gcobisa Madlolo, I'm very pleased to meet you today and should thank you for accepting to talk to me about PrEP. First, if you don't mind, maybe I should start by asking, how did you get to know about PrEP?
Hi. So how I got to know about PrEP is, I think it was 2017. I'm not so sure if it was 2017 or 2018. But I was home because I had been raising my kids, but I was still in a relationship, staying with my mom. So one time my mom was coming from work and she came across ladies that were handing out pamphlets, right? So the pamphlet was written, do you want to protect yourself from contracting HIV, something like that? So she brought the pamphlet home and then she said, oh, read this. Maybe it's something that you can be interested in. So I was like, okay, I'm going to read it. And then I think 2 days later, she asked me, have you read that pamphlet? I was like, no, I didn't. She said, read it. You'll see it's something interesting. So when I got to read it, that was like the first time I ever heard about PrEP. So I read the pamphlet and they had a WhatsApp number at the bottom that if you're interested, please call me. I'm not sure if you know, please call me. So I did send a text and then they called me and offered to pick me up for screening and they also explained. When they were done explaining, I was like, I actually want to start using PrEP.
Would that be the reason why you chose to use PrEP?
So my reason was, one, I wanted to take care of myself. Because if I wanted to be in charge, let me say. I wanted to be in charge of my own health and not blame it on anyone should things not go as I want them to go. So I decided to start using PrEP because I was also not too sure what my partner does whenever we're not together. He's always home raising our twins. So I was like, let me just start taking PrEP just in case something happens. So I wanted to take charge and be in charge of my own health and not blame it on anyone.
How long have you been taking PrEP and how frequently do you take it?
So I think it was 2018. I'm not sure. So we can say 2018. I think it's been 5 years now. So our doctors also explained that when you feel like the risk of contracting has gone down, you can stop. And then when you feel you're at risk, then you come back, then you get enrolled again. Because that time I was in a long-term relationship. I took it until we broke up. When we broke up, I was on a break for like 2 years. Not 2 years. I was on a break for a year because I was single that time. When I started dating again, then I started taking PrEP again. So it's been that.
What would you say are the main stigmas around people from the Black community accessing PrEP?
So in our communities, let me say in mine, people believe that I'm HIV positive. Why would I take a pill every day if I'm not sick? And also, they also say you slip around if you take PrEP. So, and also you sleep around. It's either you are sick and you don't want to tell people. And people always say there's no pill that prevents HIV, because there's also a lack of education. Because I know one thing I know for sure, my neighbor doesn't know about PrEP as well in this building where I stay in my apartment. So it's that. It's not out there. People are not accessing the information. And I think even our Department of Health, they are not doing much to actually introduce PrEP to people. Because a lot of people, whenever you mention it, let's say maybe it's an outing, we're in a club and we end up touching on PrEP, people are like, there's a pill like that, I didn't know. Those are people that are my age. So had my mom not brought me that pamphlet, I'm sure I would still not be knowing about it. So there's a huge gap of lack of information in our communities.
And what has been your experience taking PrEP? Have you had any side effects?
Also with mine, fortunately, I didn't, because I chose that I would take mine before bed. So with my peers, though, those who were taking it in the morning, they would experience nausea but I never had any side effects, because I started taking mine before bed. I would take it, then I slept. Then I never experienced anything.
What ideas or suggestions would you have that would help increase PrEP awareness in our communities?
I think if the pharmaceutical companies, if they build relationships with young people my age, and they ask us, remember we have social media these days. I have a huge following on social media. So whenever I post something, people want to know. So if ever you guys can say, okay, Gcobisa, here's a task. Let's say we want 100,000 young people on PrEP by the end of the year. You understand that I can push, and it's not even about pushing. It's me posting on my pages, because on all social media platforms, I have a huge following. I post on all the social media platforms. People definitely want PrEP, but they don't know. So if ever it's a young person like me who says, guys, there's PrEP and I'm using it, it works, then other ones will jump in as well. So if it's someone who's my mom's age saying there's PrEP, they will be like, no, you're old, so you don't even know what you're talking about. So if it's someone their age saying PrEP works, can we try it out? No, definitely try it out.
In your opinion, why do you think PrEP is unpopular?
Why do I think it's unpopular? It's not being put out there correctly, because now, even with the healthcare workers, some of them are not well informed about PrEP, because they normally confuse PrEP and PEP. So yes. So I remember a friend of mine needed PEP, so I told her to go to our local clinic. When she got there, the nurse asked if she was looking for PrEP. She said, no, I'm looking for PEP. The nurse said, no, it's the same thing. You understand? So it's not out there because people think it's ARVs. Even the branding, people have a problem with the branding as well, because they say, this looks like an antiretroviral bottle, because some are blue, like the ARV ones. So I think the problem is with messaging as well, because they don't put in more efforts to ask us what would work. Because if it looks nice, it's pink, it's whatever, people will definitely want to use it. So a lot of people are scared of being stigmatized, because in our Black communities, unfortunately, we are still not well informed about HIV as well. So people think if ever I start taking PrEP now, people will distance themselves from me, as what was happening back then when people find out that you tested positive, they would distance themselves from you. So it's the messaging and the training with our healthcare workers, how they receive us as well at the clinic, because they question us that, like, why do you need to take PrEP? Why do you think you need to take PrEP? So I think if our healthcare workers are trained well and the messaging around PrEP is changed, and more people will get to know about it.
And how do you rate your experience with PrEP on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would say it's 9.
9?
I would give it a 9. Yes.
Wow.
Because now I haven't had any problems with taking it. Unless it's one of those days where I'm feeling down and I'll be like, yo, and then there's this pill that I still need to take. So the 1% is for that. It's for my bad days when I don't feel like taking it. Yes.
What message do you have for those that don't know about PrEP but would benefit from taking it?
So I would say whoever that is not yet on PrEP or doesn't know about PrEP should highly consider starting using PrEP because it really works. It also helps you to actually be in charge of your own health. I mean, your keys to your own health will be in your pocket. So, yeah, that's it.
And do you think there should be more conversations about PrEP within our communities? Your opinion, please.
Yes, there should be.
How do we conduct them?
So, since everything is digital these days, I think if we do pop-ups and on Facebook, do you see those ads that you're not looking for, but they pop up anyways? So I think if we have that on across the social platforms, in our supermarkets, we paste papers there because people still read hard copies. So if ever we paste some things right on the streets, people will definitely want to know what's this PrEP. So, yeah, I forgot to mention radio stations as well, because people still listen to radio stations. So if it's put out there, even a TV ad, even if it's 1 or 2 TV ads, then that could also help as well.
Gcobisa Madlolo, we could certainly talk more on the subject, and I hope we will be engaging you again in the near future. I want to thank you for your time and for sharing your experiences with us about PrEP. All the best, Gcobisa.
Thank you.
We now have a drug that can prevent HIV. PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis, uses drugs that were developed to treat HIV to instead prevent someone from acquiring the virus. PrEP has been heralded as the breakthrough drug that can bring an end to the HIV epidemic. I am your program presenter and moderator, Oumai Obanda. You've been listening to Sauti Radio in London, a health and well-being outreach project of the Africa Advocacy Foundation. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, goodbye.
You're listening to your radio station. Sauti Radio.